Yo, yo, yo. No, I'm just kidding. Jimmy, we miss
Cringed.
you. What's going on, everybody? We're back with Nicholas Menard, aka OMG. It's Clay Aiken, aka OMG. It's Cornholio. What did you do, my good sir, today?
So I played the Gen Con Online tournament, and I was able to get third place.
Hell yeah. Hashtag not washed. Put them in the comments below. What did you play today? And I guess what were your matchups throughout the day?
I played SS Vegito, aka Spear Bomb.
That's cracked, brother. That's cracked. What all? What were your matchup? What? I guess first, what made you decide to play the deck today?
Well, it's yellow, so I like yellow.
Enough said.
Um, yeah, I've been playing black. I have everything for God Trunks deck, but I just have not had time to test really. Like, I don't know, since December, January, really. So, I don't know. I know yellow, and shows this. I had a very aggressive list to start when I originally tried playing this deck, but after talking to Mike from Crossworlds, he helped me curate uh, something I imagine is pretty close to his list. And yeah, just control wise, it doesn't stop. It's a pretty good deck. So
Yeah, this deck
yeah,
seems to be more of a good fit for you with the do nothing pass situation. You like doing that a lot, so I can
I
definitely
do
suit your
enjoy
play
doing
style a
that.
little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, like meta wise, I wouldn't say it necessarily has like an auto loss to anything. The way I built the deck, I feel like I have a pretty good matchup against both Android 21s, which is nice. Figured out a way to beat God Trunks with it. It was pretty rough before, but we fixed the deck. So yeah, I would say one of the harder matchups is probably Green Gohan, but I also just haven't been able to test against it enough. So I don't know.
Gotta get more
I'm
untapped
sure I
reps
can
in,
get better.
baby.
Yeah, apparently. But I'll start with the Z deck because that's pretty important for this deck.
Why don't you tell
So,
us what your leader does first?
oh yeah.
Give us a little
Um, I'm
overview.
I'm really bad at winning die rolls. So any yellow leader that's good at going second, I immediately like. So this leader starts at 20k. And then once you charge your second energy, you cut yourself down to 6 and draw 2 cards and flip over. So yeah, I like a deck that can lose the die roll and not feel like you're just gonna like instantly lose, which is nice. As far as your ability to awaken, now that Champa's gone, it makes this leader even better. So this C leader is not really that important. I usually only have him active for like 1 to 2 turns max. I don't really care about getting him live that frequently, but he's all right. He just gets you like an additional draw basically. You don't need to swing to draw, which is nice. But this is the one of the bigger reasons to play the deck is going to be the second Z lead under the Z stack. So this guy, when you have at least 7 cards in your combo, which can come from your Spirit Bomb, which I can show in a bit, your opponent can't use like super combos or anything. Like, yeah, it negates the skills for that. So, just a good way to get double strike and just make your leader swing a 55k basically for nothing, which is kind of broken. Double strike.
That
So
negates all the
that's
skills
like,
to the combo area. That's pretty good. Stops super
yeah,
combos. Stops Gohan Piccolo in the mirror match.
yep,
Stops a
it's
bunch of
pretty
stuff.
good. Honestly, the Z deck outside of those 2 cards, I barely touched at all today. Yeah, actually, I didn't have to use my Z deck at all, to be perfectly
Seems to be
honest.
the trend
So
for yellow, honestly.
I mean, it's so energy hungry that it's just usually not worth it. And then because of some other choices I've made with deck building, it just didn't. I don't know, wasn't necessarily needed. So I don't know. I might even look at rebuilding the side deck if I'm just not using these current cards and maybe some more defensive stuff. But one evolved defender, one Hercule, who can ramp up your Spirit Bomb to 7 if need be. If you don't have anything to deal with barrier, this Vegeta's good whether it's in rest or not. It works. Oolong Greed is good finisher and surmounting, which I haven't used in quite some time because I'm happy to sit above 4 life. I don't really care. Eventually, some will get me below that number, so that hasn't been an issue. So that's the leader. That's the Z deck. We'll move on to the extra cards. We got 3 Spirit Bombs. I used to just run 2, but then you experience once or twice whiffing on it, which is terrible because then you are just like a vanilla leader at that point.
That shit feels so bad.
Yeah, so you just run 3 and you're fine. Used to run 4 T-Blow, but we just went down to 3 because I don't know. I'm not trying to like rush blue down or yellow down, so if they end my turn, I'm just like, cool. I was gonna pass with 4 up anyways, so it's not really an issue. MVP card that we moved from the side from last week to the main is Flying Nimbus. Really good in the format. There's a lot less unisons being played right now, so this just puts in a lot of work. Everyone's expecting you to be playing Mecha, so they're just gonna activate Koitsukai, and you're like, cool, Nimbus. And they're like, cool. That's fun. Just 2 Frieza reinforcements. I would say overall every color has like a pretty good way of dealing with this with tokens now, so it's more just for if you're tapped out and someone's swinging with like a triple striker or something.
And because they can deal with tokens, that's why you aren't running 3.
Yeah, it's more just to like, it's just to stop multiple damage if you're just in an awkward spot.
Was there ever a reason to like? Did you ever use it as like a self awakener to get yourself from 5 to 4 to turn on super combos and your Z awaken?
Maybe once or twice the entire day. Like it wasn't really a priority. Like the only time I want to turn into the, just with the way that it times out with when you're gonna get to 7, you have to do it on turn 3 if you want to have 7 by turn 5, but you're not rushing to kill someone, so typically you're not going to do that till turn 5, which at turn 5 you will get down to 4 life. You just will. Even against control decks, like they're going to swing at you. They still want to kill you.
Right. Cool.
So I just find that's not an issue. One on Final Flash. And then the SCR of choice for last week and this week was your number 1. Not a fantastic card against yellow. They have a lot of really good ways to deal with it, but for the most part, I would say yellow's not super meta relevant outside of probably just set 1 Frieza. So, I don't know. Playing the Goku that can't be gotcha'd at any point, you just do it turn 6, and then you just kill them. Because you're like, oh, you were down to 3 life. How sad. And they die.
And turn 6, you have cooler backup, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
so, this costs 3 energy. Basically, we'll tap them out, and then you're good. So, that's all the extra cards. Which is also enough to make sure that you got Repose live early.
That's right. Spirit Bomb counts as an extra card, so even if you run the extra copy, you can charge the ones you don't need, right?
Yeah, so this is what I would call the Mike package, which is going to be 4 of Kibito, 2 Roshi, 2 Shen. So for people who aren't aware of this card, it just searches top 5 for Earthling or Saiyan 4 or less, which is good in its own right, but if you're a Goku or Vegeta leader, which you are once you awaken, which is a secondary reason why you don't want to go into your... Actually, that part doesn't matter because it's still Goku when you Z awaken, but regardless, you're spending energy trying to draw. You're not trying to go into Z energy to get the Z leader in the beginning of the game. But yeah, so this is how you draw. This is how you beat the green decks. This is how you beat God Trunks. Is you just hardcast one of these turn 1, or hardcast that turn 1, and then vice versa. So you're gonna have 2 of these with barrier on your turn 2, and then once it's turn 3, you just start tapping them down, and they're just gonna draw you 2 cards every turn. Someone wants to swing into them, it's a free negate. So like I just don't care. Someone wants to swing in them.
And you figured out to you don't rest them turn, like once you have both on turn 2, you wait until turn 3 to use them, right?
Well, one of them is going to be skillless on turn 2,
right?
because
So you
that's
only
how
draw
you
the one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. So just tapping 1 to just die immediately would just be kind of silly in my opinion. But
that's
yeah,
fair.
but that's just how you keep up in hand size to everybody else. Otherwise, you're running maybe 10 card max, and then it just gets kind of tricky. Which is where I was originally struggling with the deck.
How many cards in hand were you at on average throughout the day? Do you know?
Like 12 to 15.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So people who didn't go after them, I was just playing like 17 card hands, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake to not have, like, if they're rested and you can just put a free attack into them, I say just get rid of them. That way they don't draw 3-4 cards each a turn or
Yeah,
throughout the game.
Like overall, it's a win-win situation for me. I don't think leaving them there is a good choice, but if you don't have like a reasonable way to get rid of them, then I don't know. I get it. But I'm never too upset. Our like mid-range package that we can start as early as turn 2 is going to be Ultimate Duo and this Vegeta. This Vegeta's been getting sided out more and more lately, so I honestly might just like cut it down to 2 or something. It's not a bad card, but just it's not an aggressive deck, so I'm not like terribly worried about playing this too frequently. This card is really good because it can just blank anything, and you just don't have to worry about any effects that can hurt you. So just the utility of this is really strong. So that's like the early game and mid range package, or mid game package, I should say. Um, this has been a new favorite card for me, which is the 5-drop Goku Frieza. This card in its own right is kind of like a draw monkey. So one of my favorite moves you can do is just so how you play him is you can just have him Z charged, and then you can just select a battle card. So if he was already on board, you can just select him, put him in your Z energy since he's in rest mode anyways, because he's got servant. But you can also just select nothing or select nothing on the board, but just select your leader to play him out, which is pretty cool. But you can kind of just turn it into like a draw engine. So you're just clearing board and then drawing. So instead of swinging with it, you can just swing with your leader, and then you just combo with it, and then you can just clear board again next turn, and then keep drawing off the same card. So that's another way that you can keep your hand size up if they've dealt with your 1-drops or you just didn't see them in the early game. This is a really good substitute for that. You just have to be careful. Against more aggressive lists, you can't play this as frequently, but against control decks, it's really good.
You can still pay 2, play it, clear something, and then swing immediately, draw combo it off, and then do it again. You just get it off the board initially instead of.
Yeah, and then that's an additional way of dealing with Android 21 is just you can, if for whatever reason you played a battle card to clear their board or apply some pressure, you can just do this to get that into your Z energy out of your board, and then you can swing with this again for more pressure or whatever you want. But let's just say you swung with your leader trying to do what I was just talking about, the Android 17 and you're like, okay, cool, like couldn't combo this off, so I'll just do the activate main, send it to warp to get rid of it, and then now they can't use it for anything. So.
Did you play against any 21s today? I can't remember.
No, I did not.
Okay. We'll grab your matchups at the end, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, at this point.
That's fine.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
2 cents. They're good against yellow decks. They're good against red if you can go first. I think this card is less meta relevant now that we're kind of out of that red meta, but it's still a good card. Yellow can kind of struggle to deal with it at times. If they have black smoke, that card deals with it. 2 Motaito. Card's fine. I've played it enough now that and people are like aware of Motaito enough at this point that it feels like I'm noob slaying if I'm successful with it. So I've almost just been using it instead of a floodgate in the early game to just rest annoying battle cards that are cost like 3 to 4 in the first few turns. I got something else that I've been using more frequently for like this is purposely supposed to be for the 8-drop in Green Gohan, but I've been finding they're just too prepared for it, so I'm less reliant on this card now. But good for resting over cost of battle cards.
Did you get anybody who played, if they went Vegeta Trunks first, did you get anybody with that at all?
I've been doing that less. I've typically just been playing Steadfast instead. Because it basically accomplishes the same thing, but I gotta keep up my hand size. I've been testing out Steadfast as a counterplay more frequently. This is live turn 2 if you have an extra card in your energy. So it's if you've done nothing, instead of using a floodgate in the early game, you can just rest something and then you get a block, usually. So it just lets you just kind of survive your turn. You're not stressing out. So I think this card's undervalued in yellow right now.
Would you bump it to 3?
Probably. I got the 3rd on the side. Yeah. 4 draw 2 super combos. Nothing to say there.
Yeah, since you're running UR number 1, you don't have the Piccolo Gohan.
Yeah, exactly. Both are good. Just 2 coolers. I'd probably go down to 1, but out of fear of not seeing one of them, or running 2 is just correct. I would say this is probably an underperformer. So for Vegito, it's really broken against like Set 1 Frieza, where you can just play it against their unison. But I don't know. If they saw T-Blow that turn that they just sat on all game, it does nothing as well. So I have mixed feelings in the card. It's not bad, but when you have a floodgate that gets dealt with when you negate a big swing, it doesn't feel as bad as a counterplay that didn't actually stop the swing that got dealt with. So not as good as Riposte. Still a good card, but I might start cutting it down to like 2.
How often did you get the additional negate strike skills?
Not frequently. I think maybe once all day. Partially because I just don't value going into my Z leader as much anymore.
Right.
In my more aggressive build, this was utilized a lot more. But when you're slower and you're not worried about going into your Z leader, yeah. And again, part of the reason for that is like you can rest something when it goes when you activate Spirit Bomb, you search top 3. If a card goes underneath, this has an auto only on this leader specifically and not any of the Z leaders that you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and rest it, which is really important for clearing board. So you're kind of incentivized to not go, if you want to play a slower game, to not go into your Z leader. So like it's counterintuitive to run this in a more defensive build in this specific deck, which is slightly annoying. But yeah, for a post, nothing to say there. Good card. And then the boss monster of the deck is 4 of the Goku.
3 of the Goku.
3 of the Goku. I can't count.
And that's the only Goku boss monster you play for the secret rare, right? You don't run
Yeah,
you don't need the 5-drop anymore.
we don't need the 5-drop anymore just because Dirty Burst is banned. So
Yeah, true.
now you just play this and you're like, okay. But they got like a cheaper answer to this now. So I don't know. Maybe that's better. Maybe that's worse. But yeah, that's the deck. Sideboard.
How many main?
How many main?
Yeah.
Oh, how many main? 56 cards.
That's a big deck.
So it sounds big, but like you draw pretty good. Like you draw 5 when you awaken.
You filter a lot too with your top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you filter a ton, and at the same time, you got to remember you're putting at least 7 cards under Spirit Bomb. So yeah, if you're running like a tight 52, you can mill yourself out pretty easy. So I feel like that's pretty necessary to run it at a higher list number. Makes it a lot easier to side deck too. Just one Death Blaster. This is mostly just for the cooler SCR. I brought it in both games that I would have seen it, but did not see it in time, so ultimately didn't matter. I tried Released from Evil at 1, bumped it up to 2. It's really good against the 8-drop Green Gohan. It's also good against the Gohan Unison when it goes -3. So, yeah, good card. 4th T-Blow for yellow and for blue. I took Mirror out of the main just to make room for some stuff. I honestly didn't miss it all day, to be honest. So, didn't need to play it once. I don't know if this deck, if I even want to be doing much Overwhelm. I might just try and put a different Overwhelm and it's free. Like Secret Eddie. 1 Jiren for blue, but I only played against 1 blue deck today, and they charged their 17 turn 1, so I was like, sweet. 2 Gohans, just to help you draw. Currently, today, didn't use it at all, mostly because I didn't run into like any hand destruction, like Expert Enter 21. This was a card that Mike suggested to me to put in. I didn't have time to test it, so I didn't bring it into my matchups because it didn't feel like it was going to be impactful enough. So
what matchups was he suggesting it come in on?
like yellow and blue, basically.
Gotcha.
Like you also need to be running against like mono blue. Like blue green, you're never going to play it. So yeah. Whistled Melody. I played last week when I played against 2 Android 21 players, and this like destroyed them. The card was amazing. So it's just a counterplay that hits 4 less. So it's going to hit their 4-drop when they try and ramp. Why play this over a battle card like there's a Piccolo is that it doesn't give them energy back, so you want in your drop and Additionally, you can also draw with this card with like it's almost like a mini draw heap. I've never bothered with that effect, but it's an additional option, which is kind of cool.
And it's an extra card for Frieza and Steadfast.
Yep. A third Steadfast. That got sided back in quite frequently. So says enough right there. I need to be running Steadfast at 3. Third Mentato. Again, useful card. Mostly just used in like the early game. And then just rely on released from Evil in the later game. Poutine. Might try and find a way to main deck it. It was pretty useful in about half my games. So that felt really good. And then a third Flying Nimbus, just for your more aggressive decks. Or whenever you get Koitsukai. But yeah.
Alrighty. That looks good. And you said you got third. What were your matchups today?
I might not get the order of all these correct, but I believe round 1 was against Yellow, Majin, Vegeta. That one I went first? Yeah, I went first on that one, I think. I might have gone second. I can't remember.
It's one of the two. So
no, I definitely lost. No, I remember because last week I lost every single die roll. And then I rolled a 3 again, first one, and I took the die out of my box of die, and I was like, these are cursed die, and put them to the side, and then I actually was winning die rolls for the rest of the day.
That sounds right.
So yeah, I lost round 1 for the die roll. I won the matchup. I got pretty lucky. Immediately he went into his 4-drop on like turn 2, I think. And I just rested it with Power of Super Saiyan and then instantly played Poutine, and I was like, cool, this guy's not going to have fun. So that matchup was basically sealed turn 1, which was kind of nice. He was just never able to actually like draw off of anything, and it just went downhill fast. Round 2 was against Dane. Dane got second with Golden Frieza, so that won.
Shout out to Dane.
I'm not too sure what to say what I did in that matchup because I sided very poorly and I played pretty poorly. The night prior, I accidentally ate some food that I thought didn't have garlic in it, and it did have garlic in it, which I have IBS, I'm like allergic to it. So I took like a solid 12 shits between waking up and playing round 2. So I was like not feeling hot at all. Like my stomach felt horrible. I had a headache. I was like, this is not a good start to the day. So whatever happened there, not taking away how Dane played fine, but I definitely did not play a good game, and I felt like crap. Started feeling a little bit better after that. I think I got it out of my system. But yeah, I had a lovely morning to start the day. Round 3.
The key to success, at least 12 pregame shits.
There you go. Get it all out.
You gotta get the shit out of your system, man.
So that was your one loss for the day, right?
Yeah, that was my one loss for the day, which is round 2, which is typically like pretty horrible. I was really shocked I was able to get third place losing round 2, but because Dane, I don't think any of my opponents dropped, and then Dane didn't lose to the last round, so I think that helped. But still, I was very surprised to get third place losing round 2. That was very surprising.
Did you lose to any Oob Mills today?
I did not see any Oob Mills.
Very good.
Oof.
Very good.
Oof. Too soon.
That is too soon.
Fair. Why would you play this over like Yellow Frieza? Set 1 Frieza.
I just enjoy this deck more. Like, Set 1 Frieza is good, but there's like a lot of ways to also counter that deck. Whereas with this deck, I feel like there's a lot more 50-50 matchups, or just where you have like a straight up advantage. So Set 1, like if you can do your thing without being like challenged, then it's pretty easy to win. But as is,
Agreed.
like there's no like one specific strategy that's just like, oh, I got an auto win against Spirit Bomb. It's a very difficult deck to play. It's very punishing if you're a little bit too greedy on your energy trying to clear board. You have to be extremely patient, and you got to be comfortable with the fact that you might be leaving 1 or 2 energy spare open every turn that you didn't even use on defense, just to make sure that like they didn't go in hard enough to actually kill you. So it's a very defensive deck. or at least that's the best current way to play it, I would say, in this meta. What else did we play against? I think I played against, oh yeah, round 3 I played it against Broly Swap, like the red one, which was a blast from the past. I lost the die roll, but I was able to just more or less hand control him, which felt slightly ironic.
Did Sin put in any work against him, or did you not see it?
I went second, so
you
like there
didn't
was
even
never
try.
an opportunity. There was no opportunity to even play it, to be
Yeah, true.
perfectly honest.
Fair, fair.
It was literally like keep one open for Flying Nimbus and keep a T-Blow up to stop his chain. That was more or less it.
Dane sent you to the Shadow Realm and you thrived in the Wild Wild West.
Pew pew pew. I mean, yellow's always really good against just like wild decks that people bring. It's just got a lot of good answers. So that's another thing I like about yellow is you don't really have to be worried about being in the weeds. Played against a green Gohan. I think that was probably round 5. Round 4, I don't recall what I played against, but yeah, it was a green Gohan, a Soul Striker. I think that was possibly round 6. And then the final round I played against. I'm missing one deck here that I just can't recall at this moment. Oh, I think Pan. I think round 4 I played against Red Pan. And then the final round was against Jordan Beard. He basically just asked me at my invite yet at the start of the game, and he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, you're going to win, but we're just going to play for fun. So we played for fun. I won the fun match, but he gave it to me beforehand, so I don't know if it was either of our most competitive game that we brought forward. We were just kind of shooting the shit playing.
What was he playing?
He's playing Set 1 Frieza.
Okay. He played a lot of Set 1 Frieza today.
Yeah, 2 Set 1 Frieza. I'd prefer to play less Set 1 Frieza. Like, I don't think this deck... I wouldn't call it like a winning overall spread against that deck. You have a lot of good answers for it, but at the same time, it's... Like, Dane... I don't know if he was aware of it or not, played around this SCR, had it the entire game, and I just couldn't play it against him because he kept leaving 4 energy up, and I was like, yeah, I can't do anything against that. And then he found the right opportunity to play the cooler SCR, and only had 1 extra card in the drop, so couldn't negate the skills. So I was like, alright. Good game. That was basically it on that one. So, yeah. Overall, I think the deck's super fun. If you like to play a defensive style, then this is probably a deck to try. Draws a lot of cards. Your defensive things, and then you just go into your bombs at the end of the game.
Did you ever consider not charging to 2 and just staying a 20k leader?
I've
Maybe
thought
against,
about
like, the
it,
Red
and
Pan or the Broly.
I've thought about it just in like, I don't know, for funsies. But like
Drawing 5 is also pretty good.
The way the deck is built, you kind of need to have 2 energy to operate. So
right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a specific deck I could think of at some point in time that only keeps like an 8-card hand where it makes sense, but otherwise, no, I would.
Just not right now. Yeah,
you would just
makes
die. I don't know. 20k is good, but if you're only operating on 1 energy when your opponent has 5, like that sounds like a bad time.
Well, gents, you guys had a good weekend in general. You guys proved that you aren't washed. I was pretty impressed.
Hashtag not washed. Comment below.
Still kind of washed.
S in the chat for Oob Mill, but I mean everything else, yeah. Hashtag not washed. That's okay. Dane owns our team, so I mean, I can't say anything either.
Dane farms us.
Dane sees that Hermit style mat and he just starts
just like,
licking his
yeah,
lips.
He's
He's
like
ready.
3W baby.
Except for Armando, apparently. I don't get it, but
whatever.
That's his deal.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Nick. Congratulations on your
Thank you.
your 3rd place.
Congrats to you as well.
Thank you. If you have seen the deck profile from the other day, then that would be where that's from. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in 6 months, boys.
See ya. Yeah, 6 months.